Okay, everyone. So here's a little webinar about task groups, about making a new task group when you've already got one in a file and you want to do something about it in another file. So the easiest thing to do in my mind is, in this particular project, I've got a task group which I've made, well, Sylvia made. So it's already there, it's already been set up. So if I open that in there, we've already set the range and the two crucial values between the green lines, but I'm not going to go into that because there is another webinar about that. So what I would do is I would delete all these activities. I would click on one, do Control A, delete, and then I would do a file save as template and take my template file, save it, give it another number, and I would base my next new project on that new template. So that is, I think, the cleanest way to do it. If you want to do it where you've got another project file and you want to move this one into it, so in this situation here, I've got one file that's got my items that I want as a task group, and I've got another file here that hasn't got the task group that I want in it. Unfortunately, what you cannot do is you cannot, although it appears that you can, but it doesn't work. You can take Sylvia and you can drag and drop it here, and it will accept it, but it won't work properly. So there's something wrong with this. So we're not going to do that. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to copy all of these items from one project into another, which is a useful exercise in itself. And once they're there, we're then going to make them into a task group. So this is a two-stage process, and the first stage is we're going to take the values in one of our sub-projects here in our source project. So it's all of the tasks we've got are in the work line. If we want it in a separate sub-project, we could rename this and give it a different ID number, and it would create another one over there. So that might be if you didn't want to disturb what you've already got. But if these have got the same ID number, then whatever's in this one will replace what's in that one. So all I do is I pick up the sub-project and I drag it with both projects open and drop it on top of the one in this file here. And then all of those tasks have been transferred from this project to this one. So now I don't need this project anymore because that was my source, and I've now got the tasks that I want to make into the new task group in this project here. So I then, just as we've done before, there's another webinar on this, you Control A to select everything, and then we right mouse click here and we save as a task group. Sorry, Sylvia. I should know that because I've got an answer, Sylvia. So I'm not going to remove the layer because I want the text and the other items to remember that. It doesn't really matter about the calendar because we're just using a 24/7 calendar. So now I've got those items in as a new task group that wasn't there previously. We need to edit that task group, and the other webinar is in more detail about this, and I'm not going to really explain it, but it's created all these things at this particular date, and that particular date is taken from where it starts a new task group, which is here. So you might want to change that date before you do this, and which axis is vertical and if it's descending, etc., etc. So those dates are taken from that point. You can control them, and I don't worry about the dates. What I worry about is the values over here. So you've got to have some idea about how big it all was to start with, and what we're doing is making this only about just under 2 miles long, and we're setting the time range so it was from there at about 11 o'clock until the 28th, not the 27th, at about midday. So we've got that sort of footprint of thing. We could make it bigger by saying, well, we want to see 2 working days, and we're going to double that sort of scale. So that's what I sort of do, just so you can click on things to edit them nicely, etc. But the really crucial thing to do is to set these values to where the green lines were originally. So, and you can often see that from, you can pick up the setup or the take possession, and you can see this is from 960 to 1662. So if I click on the background here, I've got to go to the project range tab, and I've got set that to the same value. So that's 960 yards. This one is going to be 1662 yards, and that's all we need to do. And these values are absolutely crucial, because when I draw the rectangle, as I do in a minute, it's going to, this defines the rectangle. Anything sitting outside that rectangle, like these prep and the tamper position, they'll be offset by that relative amount from whatever that value is to the 992. So we've done that basic stuff. We can go back to our previous thing. We're finished with that. We can Control A this and delete it. So then if I want to make a new task template based on the silver one, I just draw my box between the green lines. It's snapping to those lines. Choose a task group. That's the new one that we've just made. Choosing coordinates. We want it to start at 8:30. We say OK, and there we've done it. And that value we put in positions these activities between the green lines, and these other ones are an offset from that. Absolutely crucial. Watch the other movie. So they're the 2 ways of creating a task group in TILOS. I recommend, having made a task group, we delete all of these tasks. We save this as a new template. We override the one that's there before. We distribute that to our colleagues, because they'll find that useful as well. So when we start a new project, we base it on the new item, and it's already going to have sorry, we've already got it open in this file here, which is why we can't do it, but we would it would already have that task group in it. So but the other means is to copy the sub-project from one project to another and then make a new task group. So I hope you find that useful. If you've got any questions, phone me up and let me know. Happy TILOSing.